until you let me be an I the way you are, you can never come inside.
Hello, today I present to you an extremely attractive application for music lovers. It's completely free. You can listen to music online or download unlimited music to use whenever you don't have internet. The powerful search function helps you find anything you want. Trust me. It's hard not to find what you're looking for because the search function is really powerful. Application download link is attached in the description of the video. I'm pretty sure you'll like it. Thanks.
My silence and know me.
Decades after Marlee Matlin won an Oscar for her role in the movie Children of a Lesser God, she's still leading the charge for deaf and disabled actors. Our man in Hollywood, Ben Mankiewicz, sat down with Matlin to discuss her upcoming movie and her ongoing crusade.
She was just 21 years old when she won Hollywood's most coveted prize.
And the winner is Marlee Matlin.
You have to understand that I was a girl from Chicago who appeared on the scene out of nowhere.
34 years later, she remains the only deaf person to win an Academy Award in any category. We sat down with Matlin and Jack Jason, her longtime interpreter and friend, at her home in L.A.
When I won the Oscar, the community was obviously very thrilled, certainly. And then they said, okay, now what? What are you going to do for us? It was a heavy load.
Her new film, CODA, now streaming on Apple TV, is the story of deaf parents with two children, a deaf son and a hearing daughter.
I can't always be that person.
Emilia Jones plays the daughter. Matlin is the mother.
It's about a hearing girl who wants to sing, but she has deaf parents who rely on her to interpret, and they always have.
They want hearing actors as the father and the older brother. And you say...
I said, if you do that, if you choose somebody who's going to play a deaf person, I'm out.
That suggests to me that maybe 35 years after Children of a Lesser God and 34 years after the Oscar, that you're a little more comfortable making some noise.
In all honesty, I didn't even think. I just said it, I put it out there. Playing deaf is not a costume. We, deaf people, live it.
For Matlin, CODA gave her a rare opportunity to work in an ensemble cast of deaf actors.
She won the Yankee Miss Pageant.
It was always sort of as background or token deaf characters. And this time, we carried the film.
I was envious, and I think my wife was too, of the marriage. Like, that's what I want, right? That was it. That's as good as it gets. Right?
You can still do it.
Yes, no, we're good. We're good. But it's...
I'm going to tell you what to do tonight.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
This is the mussiest thing I've ever heard.
The way you are.
As the most famous deaf person in show business, and probably the country, Matlin has worked steadily since her debut.
Never do that to a grouch!
You idiot! I'm Joey Lucas.
Feisty on the West Wing.
I want to know why the White House is screwing around with me.
Well, maybe you can stick around after everybody leaves and we can sweep together.
Why don't you stick around and we can sleep together?
Funny on Seinfeld.
My eye!
And always game, quickly becoming an audience favorite on Dancing with the Stars. She's come a long way from the Chicago suburb where she grew up as the deaf child in a hearing family. Her hearing loss was caused by illness and high fevers when she was just 1.5.
My childhood was so normal. I was just so happy to have great neighbors, great schools, great friends, great family.
You're a big sports fan.
Yes, I am. Big time. My father and I always watched sports together. You really didn't need captions to watch sports.
Her parents enrolled her in a weekend arts program for deaf children, where the camp director cast 8-year-old Marlee as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. What do you think Dr. Pat saw in you that made her think this little girl could be Dorothy?
I guess she saw in me, As a little girl who was very outspoken, who was very much of a people person, a social butterfly maybe, and I don't know, or maybe she was just looking for a Dorothy. Who knows? I don't know. And she found a Dorothy.
For this Dorothy, there was no place like the stage, and she owned it. When Henry Winkler saw her perform at an arts festival for deaf kids when she was 12, Matlin found a lifelong mentor.
He looked at me and he said, Marlee, you can be whatever you want to be as long as you believe in yourself and your heart.
Winkler and Matlin stayed close. How close? Soon after she won the Academy Award, Henry and his wife Stacy invited her over for the weekend to show off her Oscar. She moved out 2 years later.
Henry and Stacy Winkler are a godsend to me.
It wasn't an easy time in Matlin's life. The night she won the Oscar, she'd been out of rehab for a serious drug addiction for just 30 days. After the parties, she got into a limo with her Oscar and her co-star and boyfriend, William Hurt.
He didn't sit next to me. He sat across from me. He looked at me, looked at the Oscar, looked at me, looked at the Oscar. And he said, do you realize how many actors have worked for so many years to get what you got, that little man, in one film? And I didn't know what to say. I couldn't say anything.
You're newly sober, you're 21, you're in Hollywood, and you have this enormous high of the Oscar win and then this devastating low of the man you love belittling you on the same night. I just know it's hard. I know sobriety's hard for anybody.
It is the hardest thing. I still say to myself, one day at a time, I still do. But if Henry was not in my life, he and his wife, both, were the ones who held my hand, guided me, and didn't let go. And when I said I had to move out, Stacy said, the first thing she said, what did we do wrong? And I said, no, Stacy, I need to fly the coop. I need to grow up.
I need space.
I need space.
Today, Marlee Matlin's life is full whether she's working or not. She and her husband, Kevin Grandalski, have 4 children, all hearing. You ever feel isolated in a house with 5 hearing people?
I wouldn't say isolated, because I'm accustomed to it. Growing up, it was the same thing. But yet, I always say, what did you say? Or what are you talking about? And they tell me. Probably the only difference from when I grew up.
Her son Tyler heads to college this week. His mom made sure to show him CODA before he left.
He was like, hey, do you want to watch a movie with me? And I was like, sure, what movie? She's like, let's watch CODA.
Did you note her watching you during it?
Yes. Every time she'd kind of come on, she'd kind of just look. And I'm like, you're doing great. Don't worry, you know.
Marlee Matlin may be doing great, but there is still work to do.
Now I do. I look forward to more opportunities. And not just me, but for deaf actors, writers, directors, people who work behind the camera. We have a history. We have a culture. We are part of the diverse continuum. So what do? I talk about it. I make noise about it.